Graphic design isn't as easy as it's made out to be. You may see someone working incredibly fast, navigating all the Adobe products like it's a chef with his knives, but it's just because they are skilled and good at what they do. You'll never know if you know a program completely, because let's be honest, even the creators said they don't. But what you do know is that there are thousands of ways to get the desired results and to meet a deadline. However, whether you are a product designer, developer, or any kind of designer, creative thinking takes up most of your design time. Solving any type of problem is a creative process. And in order to be great at what you do, to avoid burnout and to keep going, your brain, the star of creativity, needs fuel and to be recharged often. Even if you love what you do, the truth is that we all want to do it for ourselves or remotely and for the money we truly deserve. Hello, I'm Paulina. I'm from Poland, from Bydgoszcz exactly, and I've been living in Granada for almost 6 years now, working full-time as a graphic designer. You can see the longer version of who I am and how I ended up in Spain on my channel, but maybe I can tell you in a nutshell. I moved to Granada in 2019 with no backup plan, and I've practically manifested everything I wanted. Honestly, there have also been ups and downs, but this year I realized that I wasn't giving myself enough credit for my achievements, letting negative thoughts affect my mental health, my diet, and my confidence. So I've been working on turning that around since last year, slowly getting better. Anyway, coming back to my profession, I think only graphic designers know that their profession is extremely demanding. And being a full-time creative designer is even harder because obviously bosses are watching you. So you have to be a creative magic button all the freaking time. You can't take an hour break to watch invisible birds fly on the roof and get your energy back. Well, I think some people do that 7 hours a day. Surprisingly, they get rewarded for that, which is weird. In my opinion, doing nothing takes a lot more energy than actually doing the job. Where I work, graphic designers take part in many processes, from giving ideas to the production process of deciding specific elements, even contacting the printers and solving problems along the way. And from the first day I walked in, I know it was going to be a challenging environment, not only because I didn't speak Spanish and I wasn't familiar with everything they do, but also because of the amount of work they have to do, which increases every year. And I love feeling positively uncomfortable and challenged. This way I know I'm growing, and I always said to myself that if I will be at work and I will know that I'm not able to learn or grow or do anything else, this is like the moment that I'm out. Because for me, work is for learning, not only to earn money, but actually to learn something more. So I'm going to tell you what kind of things, more or less, we designers have to think about while designing a product. Like creating this, you have to, it's branding. You have to decide what kind of fonts you're going to use, what kind of logotype is going to have this planner, what kind of colors it's going to be represented with, what kind of foil is going to be represented with. Even the elastic band, you have to give a Pantone. And even grommets. If you have grommets, you also have to decide and to keep it through the whole collection line. Then you also get to talk with production team, and you tell them, like, for example, the cover will have texture or craft paper, sugarcane paper, bamboo paper, soft touch, a poofy thing. So it's not like you can change your mind like 3 months during design. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes they say yes. Sometimes they tell you no because it's too expensive and they already have a budget for the project. We have deadlines that we have to meet, but sometimes, for whatever reason, sometimes we don't meet that deadlines. When it comes to creative project, you can create the project in a week. Like this one, for example, you can create in a week because normally, meanwhile, you work with other things as well. So you don't have one thing that you are working on constantly every day. You have to think how many hours a day you would like to do for this thing and for this thing and this thing. To be honest, I am not that kind of person. When I am into a project, I am 100% into a project and I can't stop. I can even do one thing 1 week and I get frustrated when something comes from the side. For me, planners are more than just a mini calendar trapped in a paper format. To be honest, shops are full of these minimalistic designs. You can buy exactly the same planner, but just with a different price because of the brand name, obviously. Some of them are really beautiful, trust me, amazing, and I would pay that price. But mostly they lack soul, energy, and maybe a backstory behind. So I, on the other hand, try to apply exactly that. I try to make sure that the person who bought the product knew that they would keep it for years to come, just like personal diaries. I have here, for example, this first planner that I already covered in my first part of this video, so I'm not going to bore you with the same thing. I am hiding messages in every planner that I design. April was the month that I decided that I'm going to move to Granada. I already bought tickets and I knew that I'm going to be living here. I've decided to use Japanese illustration of Kono Bairei with the quote that says, "The day you decide to do it is your lucky day." So this was like the first creative thing that I got to do, which wasn't exactly designed fully by me because obviously, as I mentioned, the interiors had already a guideline. So the first year that I entered, I could already pitch ideas and I had many ideas in my head. Some of them didn't even went to mass production because sometimes trends change and sometimes the product is already made by someone else. So you have to be really fast developing the product. I only picked the most important projects for this video and I'm not going to talk so much as I did in my another video because I think you got bored. I don't know, I get the feeling that probably it was too long for someone. Even my father told me that he doesn't want to watch this, so I totally understand. One of the first things that they told me to do something with flowers and using the illustrations of Olga Korneva, which is an amazing artist. You can find her work on her website, which I'm going to link below. There wasn't actually a name for that planners. Here I have. We downloaded many illustrations of hers and we wanted to do something with flowers, and flowers weren't that a thing back then, as I remember, and only refill paper was actually doing something botanical, something with flowers, this motif. So I took her flowers and I organized them by months, by seasons. I miss seasons, so I want to have something that I can see what kind of flowers actually are in that month. I had to think about the name and I said, what about seasonal flowers? This one is from 2022, 2023. From 2021, I don't have because it was so many years ago. And as I've mentioned, I threw the things that I had. And I really love this one. I was really into lilac that time of the year or maybe my period of designing. And I really like that product because it's like full of foil. and also has the embossing. The flowers are pressed inside on the cover. The interior was fully designed by me. There are many other things that you can mention, like for example, bookmarks that also are related to flowers and quotes, and also you have a presentation card. Every year the presentation card was completely different, and the interior, like every month, contains a quote by someone related to that month or maybe even a season. And you have the flowers organized monthly, obviously, and then every page has a quote. You will not find a page without a quote. And obviously, I really loved the idea of personal development in planner because we also have many pages to design. So I thought I'm going to do like personal, like 30-day challenge. Get out of your comfort zone. I was like really into that thing because I did everything to get out of my comfort zone, and I wanted people to challenge a little, to do something with your life. But then you have also questions like, what does success mean to you? Is it a business hustle, independence, family, both? Because everyone sees their life differently. So if you have that kind of planner, you can just write what you think and keep it forever. Find your passion. I remember that that time of my year, I didn't know what kind of passions I have. And I had a boyfriend. I had a job. I lost like my the spark for photography, and I didn't want to touch my camera anymore. I was like in that kind of burnout mode, but I will never stop doing photography, that's for sure. I really loved creating this, and I remember that at some point I only wore flowers. I was like having dresses, shirts, everything with flowers. And then came the time when I started to vomiting these flowers because I said it's really too much for me. I can't be wearing flowers, designing flowers. I can't already. On the last page, obviously, you have also a poem written by me. Boarding pass. I love you so much that if I had to choose between you and travel, I promise you I would think about you for the whole trip. This is the quote that reminds me of my personal thing that happened to me in my life when I was like 22, and I really wanted to go to experience Erasmus program. And I was dating someone back then, and he told me something like, if you will go to Spain, this is going to be over between us. There's nothing that can happen because I want you in Poland. I don't want you to travel. And I was like, oh, no. No one is going to tell me what I'm going to do with my life, okay? And this way, I went. I mentioned this planner in my other video once. The idea behind the boarding pass was to create like a passport of the whole year. So basically, the boarding pass was your boarding pass to life. Even the cover already says that you decide where you land. So the landing was happening in December, and you start your journey in January. So every month contains exactly that. The journey starts already from packing your goals and belongings, and then going to February, you are already in the plane preparing for take off. And then every month you are watching your life through the window of the plane and reflecting on everything what you have written every month. I designed bookmarks as boarding passes, and it was really fun thing to do. I could give you something that would remind you that your life is a journey and the whole year is your chapter. Mark correct ones. If flying was free, you'd never see me again. Another, I hope I get the middle seat. It's my favorite, said no one. Extra charge for emotional baggage. Please detach and dance after reaching to your dream destination. These planners were also academic planners. One of them is the Clover, and the other one, Stay Dedicated. They share exactly the same interior, but different Pantones, colors, and obviously different effects. Clover was my personal journey of defining lack and what it actually is through the book of Earl Nightingale, like really short book. Maybe it is like 20 pages. Also, you can find it on YouTube. I can maybe link below so you can listen his words, because every time when I listen to his words, I get inspired that sometimes you have to help your lack, because lack doesn't happen when you are sitting at home and doing nothing and procrastinating. So this was the idea exactly for this planner that has also special effects. Every month has a quote from the book to remind you about exactly what you have to do with your life to succeed. And also I designed Ikigai. Ikigai is a Japanese concept that refers to finding one's purpose or reason for being. And finding your Ikigai can help you achieve a fulfilling and meaningful life. I actually did that like 2 years ago. It turns out I really like writing and doing creative things, like, for example, right now filming. Also has bookmarks, very simple ones that you can take to the print shop and laminate them. Every spreadsheet has a quote, a challenge that you can do exactly through those days. Sometimes those are like 2 or sometimes are 3 days. So I think it was really fun. Sometimes they are actually impossible to do, but I didn't write that part. And the other one, which is Stay Dedicated, is exactly the same idea, but with the quotes about staying dedicated to what you are going to do to succeed. It contains only like 2 Pantones, in this case the green one and the lilac, obviously. Also has a quote for each month and very minimalistic interior, so there's lots of space for you and a challenge for spreadsheet. But the bookmarks are the most fun part that you can see, because they also share foil effects. It was really special for me because it costs lots of money. So if you, please don't throw them away. Just go to the print shop, ask them to laminate, and you can use it forever. Don't throw it. It's nice, okay? Don't throw it. The minimalistic planner Nordic. The idea behind this was completely different than from the beginning, but through the time it stayed exactly that way. I was inspired by Swedes and by Finnish people, and I wanted to have something in my portfolio that is completely different from the things that I always design, much more minimalistic. So the interior is very, very, very simple. It doesn't contain like almost any colors. It's only one Pantone through all the pages. That's the simple thing that I've done with Nordic. There was also another format, but I don't have it here. Japanese artists. They told me that we need to design new planners. I had to do my research, like what I would like to do with these planners, and that was the idea, the Japanese artists. The idea behind these 3 planners is that it's going to talk to another person. Like each planner is going to be designed for different kind of a person. Like for example, Yuki, which represents courage, bravery, and boldness. And it says, the day you decide to do it is your lucky day. The second planner is this one. The name was Hanami. Hanami means enjoying the transient beauty of flowers. Fortune comes to those who smile. Hajimari, which means to start, and it represents a new beginning. The interior is full of things. It has also stickers. One page is for Japanese artists, and then the other one is for simple vector stickers. I didn't want to put words because I thought like maybe every person see an icon, a thing, and they treat it in a completely different way. A map of Japan that was created exactly specifically for the other Japanese planners, but this one is completely changed. Practice your Japanese, as I always include in all of the Japanese planners that I've designed, which is really nice. Then you have a year, notes, a yearly plan, and you get to the project plan. Project plan was the idea taken from my Excel things that I do. Like I normally have a project and I mark if I did it exactly that day or if I didn't. That way I can see the whole month working on one thing. And then you have yearly tracker in pixels, which I also include already for a few years because every category can be for a different thing. And I've seen on Pinterest that people create really interesting things with this. Like for example, mood, or they track if they went to the gym, stuff like that. Then you have a monthly view, which I made horizontal. Then you have the finance budget plan, which is also the idea from my Excel that I do every month. Obviously, what I do every month is much more complete, way bigger than this. And then you have already a weekly view with Japanese words, Japanese signification, and you go through every month, that every month has its own artist. And then you get to the end, and yeah, that's it. You know, I am connected with Japanese designs since I entered the company, and I got to design many products, even posters, notebooks and stuff like that, and even calendars, which are a nightmare because you have to design them in English and also really beautifully crafted designs, and also add a Japanese language, which is not easy to do because I don't speak Japanese. I'm gonna tell you a secret. There was a year that actually I was really tired. I know that I am a workaholic and I love to work. I can't do nothing. It's impossible for me to do nothing. But at that time of the year, I had like too many projects to create. It was 2022 and 2023. I was overworked. I was really depressed and I was just going to work and doing like, I didn't care if I did something right or not. That was the thing. I was burned out already for design. Like I didn't want to do this anymore. In my designs also you could find an error. The Japanese language was turned around. I have no idea. Sometimes when you are designing, you are clicking so many things that you don't actually see that you are making an error. It was a huge error. I thought they would fire me, but they didn't do that. So thank you for watching. If you stick with me until the end, and if you have any comments, please let me know in the comment section, so I can maybe one day do this video in the future explaining more things that maybe you don't understand, how to develop an idea and how to design a planner or maybe any other notebook or editorial thing that you would like to know. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.